playoff bubble continues to get more interesting as not only does it get tighter, but there's some conflict in there now. So we got some conflict within the fight for playoff positions. Oh man, we got some fun stuff to talk about. Obviously, if you got to win, you're in the playoffs. Kyle Busch, Truex, Keselowski, Hamlin, Logano, Elliott, Harvick, Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman. Those 9, they're in. They've got themselves wins. They are all good. Some of them with multiple wins. But we got some guys like Eric Almirola, Ryan Blaney, and William Byron who they got some good points. They got a good points gap. Then we got some guys like Clinton Boyer. He's in, but he doesn't have a good points gap. So we're going to talk about that today. So obviously those guys I just stated, they're on wins. Points. Here's where it gets interesting. I'm going to declare Eric Almirola in. The odds of him blowing a 96-point lead are fairly low. The odds of Ryan Blaney blowing an 89-point lead is fairly low. So I'm going to put them in. We're not going to talk about them at all today. So you guys should be happy if you're a Ryan Blaney or Eric Almirola fan. You're in as of now unless Jimmie Johnson has something to say about it, or Blaney fans. Byron has a 60-point gap. That is more than one race, I think, because the most points you can get is 60. The least amount you can get is 1. It's 59 points. So he has at least a one-race gap. So he just needs to keep that gap till, what's the first race of the playoffs? Richmond. Sorry, this new schedule's got me messed up in the head. I don't even remember what's in the playoffs anymore, what's not in the playoffs. I'll figure it out later. And then they're changing the schedule next year. I'm actually like this. I like the schedule changes because, it gives us something new, but it messes with my head and the normal. But that's not what we're here to talk about. So, Byron, I'd say he's fairly safe. Like, the odds of something happening to him are fairly low. Like, him and Kyle Busch have a little bit of beef right now because of what happened. But I don't see Kyle Busch doing anything too stupid because he realizes if he does something too stupid that Byron in the playoffs, if Byron does not advance and Kyle Busch does, yeah, Kyle Busch has a lot of playoff points, but William Byron might get rid of those playoff points by taking him out like lap 2 or something at what's one of the races in the second round? I want to say Dover. I think that's in the second round. You get the point. Eric Jones has a 54-point gap. Honestly, he just needs to keep doing what he's doing. If he wants to stay in the playoffs, he wants to get in on points. Like, let's just assume he doesn't win. He wants to get on points. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing. He's got like 4 straight top 5 finishes. He's getting stage points. He's doing everything right. So if he doesn't win and he gets in on points, he's doing everything right. They don't need to change a thing. I see him being safe the way he's going. I actually could see him getting a win before they make the playoffs. A couple tracks he's done good at recently coming up here for him. So I could see Eric Jones potentially winning and knocking himself out of this bubble talk. So I won't have to talk about him anymore, but I could see him winning potentially. So you guys watch out for Eric Jones. He's been fast these past couple of weeks. And he's got some top 5s. Soon to be a win. Kyle Larson currently sits 46 points above the playoff cutoff. Going to one of his best tracks, Michigan. Obviously, completely different aero package and all. Engine package, aero package, everything's different about than when he won at Michigan all those years ago, like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. But obviously, he is in by a good margin, but that could be erased with a bad race, a wreck, a crash, just an engine failure, a tire blown, something crappy at the end of the race, like running out of gas and finishing 26th. Just bad luck. If he does lose it, he could lose a lot of points. And let's say Clint Boyer gets an 8th place finish. Jimmie Johnson gets a 6th place finish. They're all right there now. So Kyle Larson does have a comfortable gap, don't get me wrong. But there's still 4 races left until the playoffs. So not too much comfort. He does need to pick it up a little bit. He did this week. He got top 10. So Larson needs to pick it up just a little bit, I'd say. Moving on to the more bubbly bubbles, Clint Boyer needs to pick it up big time. He did not gain, but he did not lose this week. He is still 12 points above the cutoff. Boyer fans are happy that he's still in, but, there's still 4 races left. Anything can happen. As I said, a bad race could put him 30 points out. A good race could put him 50 points in. Depends on what other people do. He just cannot afford a crappy weekend. He cannot afford a mechanical failure, an engine failure, tire failure, failure of brain, like he crashes someone or someone else crashes him, you know what I'm saying? So he cannot afford any mistakes, and this goes for Jimmie Johnson and Ryan Newman as well. Jimmie Johnson and Ryan Newman are dead tied for the 16th position. Advantage to Jimmie Johnson because he has a higher finish in a race this season than Ryan Newman does. I think Jimmie Johnson has a third-place finish at Daytona, and that is his highest finish. Therefore, he is the tiebreaker. It is not by playoff points, people. It is not by playoff points. But if Jimmie Johnson does make the playoffs, he does have a playoff point from that stage 1 at Pocono. Ryan Newman had a really crappy weekend. He had like a tire issue or something late. He had to come down pit road under green, finish like 30th. Jimmie Johnson was having a solid day, got some stage points, and then he got spun out by Blaney. So now he's in a conflict, which is not what he needs right now. Because if he gets taken out or something, then it's not good for him. So he cannot retaliate. He cannot retaliate right now. Now it's not the time to screw around with messing up your points. But if it is going for a win, I would not be surprised if he wrecked Blaney for a win. But yeah, Jimmie Johnson does have a couple of good tracks coming up for him. He's got Bristol. Hendrick's been really good at the short tracks in recent times. So if Jimmie Johnson could get something going there, that would be good for him. He could use a good point stay there. Michigan, not one of his best tracks, but... And then Darlington, Indianapolis, and he has wins there. As for Ryan Newman, I think he's won at Bristol. I'm pretty sure he's won at Michigan. But he has won a Brickyard 400. I know that for a fact back in 2013. He beat Jimmie Johnson. Darlington, I don't know what he's like there. I know he crashed out last year. But, yeah, Ryan Newman, I think he could get in. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to make any predictions probably till the last week. But Newman and Johnson, it's all about just how they perform. If they can rack up stage points. I think both crew chiefs and drivers know they got to go for stage points. Jimmie Johnson has done a better job than Ryan Newman in the past couple weeks, I'd say, at getting those stage points, as you saw last week. But Jimmie Johnson has also failed to take advantage of those opportunities that were given to him to jump up in points when Ryan Newman, as of like last week, Ryan Newman had a situation happen where he was in a pretty crappy situation, and Jimmie Johnson could have gotten a top 10 and potentially had a 15-point gap now, but instead he's at a 0-point gap. So obviously it might have not been his fault because Blaney hit him, but he could have put himself in a better situation. He could have lost the one spot or whatever, but it's complicated. But that'll be an interesting battle. And what if Daniel Suarez decides to get up in there? What if he decides to gain 23 points on these guys? I think he very well could. I think in the Michigan spring race he got a top 5, so watch out for him if he does really good at Michigan. And watch out field. And everyone else back, they got to win to get in. So that's your playoff bubble update. Matt DiBenedetto and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. are the only two threats I see at Bristol going for a win. Everything else could be a fuel mileage. That's the only other chance if I see a surprise winner. But yeah, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Who do you think is going to make it in the playoffs? Who do you think is not going to make it in the playoffs? Anything crazy will happen? I don't know, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later this week. We'll do the Michigan preview, Michigan race recap. Then we'll do another one of these next week. Sorry this came so late. Monday I did the Jimmie Johnson, Ryan Blaney conflict. Yesterday I was planning on doing this, but something popped up and I was like, I can't do it now. I'm going to wait till tomorrow. It's too late to do it. It was late at night. I was like, got to post it at a more reasonable time for you guys so you can watch it in full awakeness, you know. But thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, leave it a big fat like. That'd be awesome. And if you want to subscribe, you are going to subscribe because you're going to.